welcome to a brand new video. Today we have a new mysterious case, but it's more of an update. We haven't done this in a long time, but I'll just focus on one specific case because it has blown up on social media. Obviously, you tag me everywhere and I've already told you on Twitter that I'll film this update, and now it's the perfect time. But before we begin, don't forget to follow me on all my social media. You know I have a billion social media accounts, and the most important thing is to subscribe to this channel and activate the notification bell so it lets you know when I upload a new video. Well, I'm going to tell you about this very requested update, so let's start. I am Madeleine McCann. Well, Madeleine McCann, I think many of you know this case already. It's the fourth more viewed video on my channel, so surely many of you got to know me because of that video or got familiar with the case through my video or whatever. Well, we're going to do a very important update here because this has been trending on social media all these days, and obviously you asked me to tell you about it in detail, so here's this video where I'm going to update you about the Madeleine McCann's case, which we thought would never get updated because it's a very complicated case with years of investigations behind. I'm not going to tell you the full case because that's what my channel's other video is for. If you want to know every detail about the case and all that, it's one of the first ones I filmed. But it's quite long and there are many interesting pieces of information that I revealed back then. But I'll give you context in case you don't know about it. Madeleine's case, it's about a girl called Madeleine Beth McCann, who was born on May 12, 2003 in Leicester, England. Basically, her case revolves around her disappearance when her parents went on vacation when she was 5 years old. On May 3rd, 2007, and stay in a place called Praia da Luz in Portugal. The whole family was there, dad, mom, Madeleine, and her two siblings, which were 2-year-old twins. The parents were with a group of friends that had brought their own kids. One of those nights, they all decided to put her kids to bed, and the parents went to a nearby restaurant from which you could almost see the room they were staying in. And every half hour, more or less, they went to check on their kids to see if they were good and calm. Around 10 p.m., after several round tips, Madeleine's mom went to check how the situation was. She found her twins soundly asleep, but Madeleine was nowhere to be found. That's when the search for her began. Her parents looked for her everywhere that night, but they couldn't find her and made a report with the police. That's when one of the most famous unsolved cases in history began, which we'll talk about and has sparked the interest of the public opinion and the media. For the parents also organized a great search for her through all these years. At some point, they were even suspected of being involved with this event themselves. After that, more suspects have appeared, possible culprits, but there has never been an answer specifically for this case. They haven't found Madeleine either, and this has remained as one of the biggest mysteries of the 21st century. For all the investigation, the police also created a composite sketch of Madeleine and has spearheaded a lot of campaigns, among other things, to be able to find her. There's even books and, well, a lot of stories that have gone around, but nothing has truly worked. There was a moment in which they almost caught someone they thought had something to do with her disappearance, a German man that was arrested for abusing other kids. However, it couldn't be proved that he had something to do with this case, so the charges for Madeleine's case were dropped. But he has been the closest they've come to solve this. We've also talked about him at some point in some other update video in case you want to check that too. And here's when this update comes. For many of you have asked for it. Unlike other cases, this won't be the longest case, I'll tell you, because I'm not going to dive deep in it. As I told you, there's a video so you can watch it. But what happened? This case became relevant again some days ago, last week, because a girl called Julia Faustina created an Instagram account called I Am Madeleine McCann. She affirms that she is Madeleine McCann, that she has many things that have made her come to that conclusion in the past few years. This has been so viral, friends, that the account jumped from having few followers to more than 600,000 by the time I started investigating about it. I even started investigating this morning and she had 600,000 followers, and now that I'm filming like 4 or 5 hours later, she's past the 700,000. So you can see the impact this is having and how this is becoming viral. Besides, it has been trending on Twitter for many days. Well then, here's where we start to try to understand who is this girl, and actually there is not much information about her, it's just what she has showed us through social media, what we can understand about this girl who appeared to be Madeleine McCann. She's basically trying to do a DNA test with Madeleine's parents to see if she is her or not. Here I'm going to read a little from a post she made where she basically summarized everything that's happening and why she came to this decision so we can understand this a little bit more. Julia posted several things in which she started to talk about the reasons why she feels she's Madeleine. In the first post, she published a photo of her when she was a little girl and said she doesn't remember much about her childhood. And she says she has few memories about that time, very few. But something she does clearly remember are some vacations she spent in a hot place where there was a beach. And she has a clear image of her with some turtles, and there were other children playing with the turtles, like taking them in their hands, but she doesn't remember seeing any member of her current family in that memory. One of the first things she mentions as she tells us about this topic of the few memories she has from her childhood is that she's been diagnosed with different things in her appointments with her psychologist and psychiatric after being a victim of a German child abuser when she was little. After that experience with that man, she developed some psychological problems. Among those, the most important one is post-traumatic stress disorder. Besides, she was diagnosed with depression and also an unstable personality disorder. All this in her mind, trying to somehow forget what happened. Let's say that this is a very real fact. I mean, it's proven by science, and there are many people that when they live through very painful events in their lives, try to erase them and aren't able to remember a lot of things. That happens in childhood, adolescence, adulthood, whatever. Even when you're processing grief, you can start to forget things you should be remembering. So let's say that this is very likely to happen, no problem at all. But then she openly talks about how she started going to therapy back then, and that's when she began noticing there was something particular that just didn't fit. She felt that what she knew about her life was just not true. She also said that it all started when, after therapy, she asked some questions to her grandmother about her family past, and she answered with things that sparked many doubts in her. And that's when she starts investigating who she truly might be. Either way, she has her parents, but it hasn't been proven if they're her parents or not. So she started to investigate and eventually found Madeleine McCann's story. She read all about that topic and started noticing not only many similarities in their physical aspect, but also some connections with the possible abuser she had when she was little. Another of the pictures she posted in her Instagram is this one of this man, which is one of the sketches of composite sketches that the police did for Madeleine's investigation. He's one of the suspects of this case, and she claims she knows who this man is, for it's the same man that abused her throughout all of childhood. She says his last name is Ney, and he is the son of one of Madeleine's possible abusers. We'll talk about a little more about this later, but she continued with those posts and texts about this topic. She also talked about the physical aspect, and there's truly several similitudes between the two of them. Starting with one of the main ones, which is the coloboma she had in her eye. This is one of the characteristics we mentioned when we did Madeleine's case, and it is her most representative trait. This is like a small dent that happens inside the iris of the eye, and it's inside, so it's visible as a small black edge that comes out of the pupil. This is not common at all, and she has in exactly the same eye in which Madeleine had it. Besides that, she says that she has many similar things, like the shape of the face, the shape of the ears, which is also very similar to the father's, the lips, and even the gaps she had between her teeth when she was little. Her kindergarten teacher also told her something very disturbing and that made her keep investigating. Her parents told her that she was in the same kindergarten all of her childhood, but sometime later, the teacher told her she wasn't there all the time, but that she came in September towards the end of 2007 to that kindergarten. Let's remember that Madeleine went missing in May of that year. On the other hand, she said she has some moles that Madeleine had, and some people say that even her feet were probably similar. Despite everything, you'll be wondering like, well, doesn't she have a birth certificate or something like that? She says she went looking for it and they didn't give her that information. She only has the idea that she's 21 years old, but she says she's most sure that probably is not her real age. In this case, if she were Madeleine, Madeleine would actually be 19 years old and not 21. So she says that there is a doubt there. So with all this, plus the images I've been showing you, all the things people on social media sent to her, she said, well, I'm almost sure I am Madeleine, and started asking the police for all the information so she could contact Madeleine's parents and get a DNA test. I'm telling you that this took a lot of time of her posting evidence, of her trying to draw attention to herself, to be able to achieve her goal. Until at last, Madeleine's parents agreed to a DNA test, and that's what's happening right now. Madeleine's parents have never given up on her search and have always said they'll do even the impossible to find her, so I guess for this, they agreed to do the test. There are no results yet, nothing is known yet, but I think half of the internet is hoping for the results to come soon, but they are basically up for it. But you'll also be wondering like, come on, if they hadn't agreed to that DNA test, for example, Madeleine's parents, why doesn't she test her DNA against her own parents? And she said they don't want to do it. Obviously, I kind of understand the parents' stance in this, for she has shown some text messages her mom sent her, and her mom has basically said that she's very disappointed, that she basically is going too far with all this she's doing, that she's also ridiculing and shaming her family, that the test, or, well, that she doesn't have her medical history because everything is in a book she kept about her daughter's health, and also that she doesn't have her childhood pictures because they're all kept in a garage. However, she says all this is circus, that the girl is just looking for fame, and that she's very disappointed in her. So here's when the other side of this story begins. Obviously, many people on the internet are doubting she really is Madeleine McCann. And actually, if you ask me, I found their pictures very similar in some ways, but I also don't know. I don't really think she is Madeleine, but she's obviously getting a ton of hate comments in social media, which I don't support that at all. But many think she only wants to draw attention to herself. They say that when all this went viral, many people found her Facebook page and discovered she was a girl who posted covers and music, and that she also posted at some point a status related with opening an OnlyFans. So they think she's probably doing all this to draw attention, get some fame, and eventually create a career as a singer. But I think the ones like me who work on social media know that this type of strategies are very bad because the only thing they get you is people hating on you, being mad at you for having done that. So that may be the end result of this if this is what she's after. What I'm also getting at is that she has never said she's definitely Madeleine. I mean, she says that she feels profoundly that she is her because of the coincidences in her life, but she says that she might be or may not be. This can also be her way of getting rid of the pressure after they send her hate or something like that, but it's really unknown. Either way, people have put her pictures next to Madeleine's sister and they look really alike. And they also keep sending her evidence to show she probably is her. One of the most interesting ones is the eye, although the coloboma she has in her eye it's a little faded. According to what they say, this wouldn't happen because it normally tends to get sharper and not fade. So there are people who talk about a possible surgery, which it can be done, but it's also a little odd that she doesn't remember someone performing a surgery in her eye, or that the doctor didn't realize that she was maybe Madeleine, for in that moment the case was very viral and everyone knew who Madeleine was. So there are some strange situations regarding that topic. But here comes the abuser part, which is quite important within this case. She says she was abused by a man during all of her childhood and that he has something to do with the suspect in Madeleine McCann's case. It's a man whose last name is Ney, same as the other suspect, but this man was her grandmother's husband. She said she confronted them at some point, and that what this man did was beat her and be shocked because of the information she told him back then about what she remembered. Besides that, he also told her he didn't recognize her until she told him she was Madeleine McCann. This part is a little odd, to be honest. For me, it doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, if he's your grandmother's husband, how come he doesn't recognize you? And normally the abusers recognize their victims, especially if they'd inflicted so many years of abuses. And him being a part of the family core is quite particular. And also the parents not wanting to do a DNA test, among other things, is very odd. What I also want to say about this case, and I think it's important to talk about it, is the fact that this girl, despite everything, whether she's Madeleine McCann or is not Madeleine McCann, went through a very heavy case of abuse. I mean, she's recognizing she has some diagnosed mental disorders, that she was abused, and that she clearly doesn't remember many things from her childhood. So whether she is or not, we have to give attention and help this girl. Clearly, other people say like, oh, come on. But Madeleine was from England, so why doesn't she speak English? Because the girl that's talking doesn't speak English, or she is from Poland. And this can happen if the girl was kidnapped at a very young age, or she'll start speaking that country's language. However, that's unclear. I mean, there's a doubt because she doesn't write well in English and she doesn't speak it perfectly, so that's completely normal. Until now, Madeleine search through the years has costed around $23 million. Imagine all that money until now. Now we're waiting for the DNA test and for the results. I think the information will eventually come out, the thing we're all waiting for, and I'll film a case too, a special video talking about that. But what I'm getting at with this video is that even if it's true or not, I hope you're not part of the team hate on social media and that you don't send her mean things. I mean, whether she's right or not, I feel she's very brave for talking and asking for help. Even if she is or not Madeleine, she deserves some explanations about where she comes from. We will wait to see what happens. But this is truly a very curious case, and imagine if this is true and she's really Kate and Gary's daughter. This would be better than a Hollywood movie. I mean, they could perfectly make a movie out of this because reality completely overthrew fiction. But we have to wait for the results. I wanted to tell you what she had said, what is seen on social media about the topic, for it's trending hard, and to show you the evidence she has posted on social media. There are some really similar pictures and some comparisons that are like, yes, maybe it's her. But from my point of view, I think she's probably not her, but maybe later, when everything comes to light, they will be proof that she is. Very well, guys, I'll leave this video here. You asked me to update you and I hope you like it a lot. If so, don't forget to leave a like. Also comment what you think about this case and everything that's appearing on social media, if it's real or not. Don't forget to follow me on all my social media. You know I have a billion social media accounts, and the most important thing is to subscribe to this channel and to activate the notification bell so it lets you know when I upload a video. I'm leaving you some videos here so you can watch them and click on my suggestions. Thank you so much for watching me. Don't forget to follow your dreams and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!